Welcome, guys. This is Stephen Medina from Training for Life USA, episode number 2 on our podcast. All right, guys. Remember, I don't know if you guys watched the video way back, but basically when I wanted to invite people into our podcast, there's 2 things that I really was looking for. Number 1, experience, nugget, wisdom, where people can help you guys, because we're all in the helping business. And more important than sometimes even that is having good people on our podcast. So our last one was Percy Knox, great person. This one right here, another good person and another good friend of mine. So this is one I'm excited about this one, guys, because you know what? We can just flow with the mic. We can flow. We can talk. We'll probably have to shorten this podcast up because we can literally just talk for hours and talk about good stuff. So I'm excited about this one. I'm going to introduce you. I know him, but I'm going to make sure that you guys know him. But I just want to tell you how good we've been friends for how long, Alan?
Shoot, like 40 years of some odd change. Yeah, I mean, a long, yeah.
And it seems like it goes just like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And all these things that you see here with the Training for Life, the idea that I got was going to his gym and having him teach me the cardio boxing and even a little bit of sparring, but not too much. But just becoming a trainer and introducing me. So you're really one of the reasons why we have this. And I really, really appreciate that. And we're definitely going to go into that. So this one's a little personal for me because he's like my mentor. We love boxing. He actually boxed, and we'll go into that. But there's nothing better than to just talk shop, talk sports. But we'll get into that. But I just want to just welcome Alan Cox.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Alan, how you feeling today, bro?
Oh, I feel like $1 million, man.
Thank you for coming in. I know tomorrow you got to get up early because you work, but yeah. I know Sunday's your rest day, but I really appreciate you coming in and really supporting this podcast vision that I have.
Thank you, man.
And I really appreciate that.
I'm really excited for you. I'm glad you're getting this off the ground, and yeah, I'm excited to see what directions this goes also, because this is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and you don't know till you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I wrote some things, and like I said, I know Alan, but some of you guys don't. But a lot of you guys do, because right now a lot of you guys follow me on YouTube and Facebook. But so basically, Alan, where were you born?
Oh, right here in Lancaster. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you. Go ahead.
The medical center, Antelope Valley, man.
Antelope Valley.
Yeah, there was like 3 horses here back then. That's how long I've been around. So yeah.
What year?
Oh, 67, man. 67. Yeah.
67
1967.
1967.
Yeah.
All right. And been in here all your life, raised in the valley all your life?
Yeah, I mean, I got out of town a little bit, but eventually, this is where I would say my biggest sphere of influence was. I always seemed to gravitate back here, but I love the area.
Right.
So yeah.
Elementary school.
I went to Delser Elementary out there on the west side, because we lived on G and 90th on a horse ranch out there. And then I went to Joe Walker Junior High after that, and then Quartz Hill High School.
So K through 6th at Delser.
Yeah.
Joe Walker Junior High. And then you graduated what year?
85.
Nice.
1985.
Okay. Sports? Did you play any sports?
Basketball.
Okay.
Basketball and, of course,
What
boxing.
made you decide that you like basketball?
Oh, I love the game. I came up, I got involved in basketball the time that Magic Johnson and Larry Bird broke in the league, man. So I really enjoyed that game, man. And I love that man. I learned right off the bat. I saw his unselfishness, and I saw how he affected.
Yes.
He was able to affect and infect the team. And I really enjoyed that. And I thought that was something I could carry anywhere. And I saw him do it, by the way, also. But he was something to me. I modeled my game after that guy.
He was such a team player.
Yeah.
He got everybody involved.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they don't put him in at least the top 5 as an all-around best player.
You know what? Honestly, he played 12 years.
Right.
And he went to the finals every year but 3. And yeah, we can get all into that. He played against the top guys. Yeah, I mean, we can get on that. But I felt that era was amazing. I got introduced to the game at that time, fell in love with it, and then played it at Quartz Hill. Man, it was I had a lot of fun.
Did you play in high school? Like, were you on the varsity team, JV?
I played JV. I started playing varsity, but back then, man, I had a job. I ended up with 2 jobs.
Okay, let's talk about that.
I ended up with 2 jobs in high school.
Okay.
So I was working my first job was at Del Taco over on Sierra Highway back in the day. You remember that? And then I was at the FedMart gas station at the same time. So that whole time, I was boxing at the same time. So
Boxing at the same time.
Yeah. So my sport really was boxing. That was my core main sport.
So let's go into some of your jobs, because I really believe as we get older, our childhood shapes how we end up.
Yeah.
Our work ethic comes from certain jobs, good
Absolutely.
jobs or bad jobs.
Absolutely.
So, did you say you worked with some kids too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Because you're really good with kids. I remember over at Monster, and I don't want to get too far ahead, but I remember you just got a nick for helping kids out. But I'm wondering if that's because you worked with the kids. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's just spend a couple minutes to talk about that.
Okay. So when I was 8 years old, my father, who we had a horse ranch, and he got an opportunity to become what they call a house parent. We ended up we had a group home, and my
Group
dad,
home as far as like kids that got in trouble.
yeah. So we actually were out there. We had a horse ranch there on the premises, and my dad got paid. My mother and father got paid. We had these boys that lived with us. So like the Department of Children's Services or probation took them out of the home. They were housed with us. So we had 6, but we also had a home that had up to 12.
Okay.
And so I grew up with them, which is honestly, that's my segue into boxing, to be honest with you. But that's how it really got started. And then later on, when I got of age, I worked with them. Okay. So I ended up becoming a counselor there, and I worked there for a number of years.
Did you kind of get a feel of working with kids, or at least trying to be some type of influence, especially if those kids were troubled kids, correct?
Yeah.
So you were trying to get them on the right track.
Well, and you know what happens is if a person doesn't have guidance, if they say they don't have a father or they don't have a mother, which I was blessed to have both, I realized they needed assistance,
right.
And so we would try to work with them, get them, structure in their life, get them studying, get them working on their educational goals, and of course I teaching them sports. That was big in that. So here I am boxing. I was already working with the kids on boxing, so we were doing that. I was doing that at a very early age.
So would it be fair to say, and we'll go into the kids, but would it be fair to say that keeping them busy in sports is very important for them?
Well, at least for boys. At least for boys. Okay. If we can channel energy into something, and they get something that makes them really feel good, especially if they're experiencing success at it. That goes for. I mean, boxing was my vehicle, and basketball, the combination of both. But yeah, I mean, I've seen football work. I've seen a lot of things work where you have boys that are when they're able to channel that energy into something, and then they're motivated to go play it, they're going to go ahead and get those grades. They're going to go ahead and do the things necessary to get themselves in there.
And you saw that?
I saw it, absolutely.
I'm sure you also saw the other side of like wasted talent, kids that were wasted but couldn't get focused because the distractions distracted them.
Oh gosh, I mean, if we can go on and on and on about that,
just wasted talent.
And you were there as I became a trainer, so I mean, gosh, we can go all over the place with this, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's been wasted more in this life than talent.
Yeah, And this is the cool thing. I've watched him, just like Percy, just our first guest. I've seen you go from here to here to here, but it's good to kind of do a little refresh and just remember, because I really believe that our past, in a good thing, can define our future. And that's why I'm trying to see, where did it go because you love helping people just like me. And I'm just thinking, what experience when you were younger made you realize that there's something that you feel good about when you help others? But we'll go into that in a second.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because let's go into this, and that was my next question.
I got you.
Let's go into this boxing.
Okay.
Because you did basketball. When did you decide that, you know what, I'm kind of liking this boxing?
Well, early on, what happened was,
because this is exciting.
I was we were in these group homes. I would get kids from all different walks of life, right? So here I am, a little farm boy, and you get some kids from the street and stuff, and they'll push you.
Yeah.
And so next thing you know, and I had an old, my dad's an old cowboy.
Right.
Right. So my dad didn't play any games, man. So he's like, hey, you guys got something to settle, you take it outside.
Now let's talk about how tall were you? And you were thin in those days. So they looked at you and they almost overlooked at you.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's a good looking dude. So he was good looking and you didn't look like kind of a little bit of a Justin Bieber look back in the day, man. I know this guy.
You got to understand. I was a
So I
was a fighter.
that.
I was a fighter first before boxers. You have to understand. I was going out there, and my dad's an old cowboy, and it was old school. You don't quit. And so I'm taking whoopings, man.
Right.
And my mom sometimes wouldn't talk to us for like a month because I'd take a really good whooping, man. So I'm getting into it with older kids. I'm getting into it. And what's funny is my first set of boxing gloves was purchased by my grandmother.
What kind were they?
They were the Franklin. They were the Sugar Ray Leonard fathers. They were 8 ounce. They were like nothing.
8 ounce.
Right. But you have to understand, she didn't get them for me to make me a boxer. It was to protect. We're bare knuckling it, so she was getting me gloves to protect myself. So I get these gloves, and we're going at it. But I started liking it. I started getting good at it.
Okay.
And then so if somebody wanted to go outside, I was more than willing to go out.
Really?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's
And they
handle
would
it.
push you, huh?
Yeah. And so what happened is we had so many homes out there, and a lot of those homes went to the same schools. So then one day I was at Del Sur, and I got into it with a guy from another home because he heard that I, could fight.
Yeah.
So next thing I know, I'm out in the middle of the friggin', he was picking on my brother, Darren. And so he baited
Shout
me.
out to
He
Darren.
baited me into going out. Yeah, my little brother. That guy got me in more fights than anybody. So I go.
I love that dude.
Yeah. So he gets me in this one. So this guy's picking on Darren. I go over there.
Big brother steps in.
Oh, I step in, but I stick my chest out and I tell him, stick my finger out there. Hey, you leave my brother alone. He couldn't wait. He nailed me. So I'm on the ground with this guy, and we get into it, and then they break it up. Mm-hmm. They were in the principal's office, right?
Okay.
And I'm looking over the principal. Principal's sitting there. She's on the phone. Now, little did I know she's on the phone with my dad. She's on the phone with my dad. So this guy who punched me starts lipping stuff at me. All right. Dude, I'm over there in like 2 seconds. I'm letting him go. I'm chunking him, man.
He's bigger than you?
He's bigger than me, so I had to jump on him quick anyway. So I wish I didn't do it out in the playground. So I was still mad about it. My jaw was hurting. I was hot. Mm-hmm. So I jumped on that guy like a cheap suit.
How old were you?
Oh, I was like maybe 11.
Wow.
Maybe.
Wow.
So my dad has to come pick
This is
me
all
up.
starting to make sense, by the way.
So my dad has to come pick me up from school. Okay. Probably the best cussing I've taken from my dad on the way home, right?
Yeah.
So he says, I got something for you.
Ooh.
I got something for you. So he takes me, we get in the car, tells me to go sit over there on this little brick wall. And I'm sitting there. And I remember, now we lived on Avenue G and 90th, okay? Antelope Acres. So the closest homes are like a mile or so away. And there's a bunch of homes out there, and I see this figure running to me, okay? Shadow, basically, like a silhouette out in the desert. It's hot. It's like this. This dude's jogging over, right? All right. Well, I know him. It's my dad's friend named Bill Jones, right? And he had boxed, and I didn't know that. He never told us, but he was a boxer. So he gets these gloves on. They tell him, Dad, you're gonna go get out there with that guy. So we get the gloves on, right? Dude, he whipped
How much older is he, by the way?
Oh, he's a man. He's a grown man.
And you are?
Yeah, I'm a kid. So he slaps me around the yard, minimal effort, right? But I won't quit. So I'm like going at it with this guy, and I'm not going to quit. And he'll knock me down. I'd get up and I'd keep going. And my dad's like, and he's letting me take my medicine, right? So Bill's finally like, he's done. I'm down there freaking sucking on a water hose, man. And they go in the house. And come outside, and Bill says, come here. He says, I like you. And he goes, I like what you got. And he goes, I'm willing to teach you how to box. But here's the deal. And so they gave me this list of rules, okay? And number one, I had to get at least a C average. Okay, my dad wasn't, he didn't care that much about the education as much as some, and he basically pointed out C average. Bill must have taught me like 3 or 4 ways to not get into fights.
Okay.
Taught me how to talk, how to do, what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was just a good man. So he was willing to volunteer to come over there every day and train me. So I wanted to learn. I didn't, of course I didn't like being picked on, but what ended up happening was I started learning how to deal with it different ways. And Bill taught me that. I got my first heavy bag was an Army duffel bag. I bought 5 of them. Yeah, the green ones. You get them at the surplus store.
Yeah, surplus store.
Yeah. So I put carpet and rags and all that stuff in there. Dude, I wore 5 of those things out in no time. Okay?
And you're how old at this time?
I'm like 11, 12 years old. I'm just going.
It's funny because I'm picturing you like 17, 18, but you're only 11 or 12.
I was a kid, man.
Okay, so it's starting to make sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was a kid. The first couple times, so Bill gets me to a certain point, and we go and we meet Andy Santos over at where they were training, Reno, Roman, and Rocky. So you got to understand now, I'm at 11 and 12, I'm almost 6 foot tall, but I'm like 130 pounds. So I'm a really, tad, skinny.
Like a white Tommy Hearns.
Exactly. So I get in there with, I don't get, Reno and Roman were younger than me.
Those guys, yeah.
They were younger, but they were beating men.
Yeah,
No
I remember
problem.
that. No
No problem. And so I go in there, but I'm sparring Rocky, who's the state champion.
I was about to say
Rocky was the same height as me.
Right. About a year older than you, right? Not much more.
Yeah, about a year older than me. But again, hey, great work, man. So I got in there and I would go at it with him, and then you get in there and you do it, and then so on the drive home, which we drove a long way to come, take me back, and I would digest what had just happened, and Rocky had a lot of experience, man. So I was getting nailed with stuff I didn't see, but there was teachable moments, and so they would talk to me, and then Andy would too. They would talk to me, and they were really encouraging, and
So basically, you're getting prepped to go to the next step.
You are. Well, you don't know it though. You don't know it.
Right,
you don't
right,
know it,
right,
especially because we didn't have any boxing programs out here yet. So we didn't know. I didn't know what I was getting prepped for. I was just boxing every day because it was cool.
And I think when you look at life, is you don't realize you're getting prepped until later when you reflect, and that's why I wanted to talk about your past of where you're going. But anyways, we'll keep going. Okay, so then what's the next step after that?
Well, I'll tell you what. I kept training for years, okay, and I kept going to different places to spar. Bill would take me, and I got experience at a lot of different places. I really didn't start competing until I was almost 19, 20 years old. Okay. And what happened is Santi Taffarella, it leads back to you again. Okay, so you were at the Club Sportif. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, all the business people out here train there.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's talk about this real quick. The Club Sportif was one of the old school health clubs.
Yeah.
And in those days, it was in the late 80s and 90s, and there was only one or two. There was a Gold's Gym on Division Street.
Yeah.
And then there was the Club Sportif, and there was another one. Family Fitness.
Oh, yeah.
Family Fitness, which is where Crunch is now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just kind of showing them. Okay, yep, I remember that. Now, a lot of business people, owners. Okay.
So I would come there and work out.
You and your brother
my brother worked there. You and Darren worked there.
Right.
And so I ended up going over there one day, and I was shadow boxing up in the cardio room.
Upstairs.
And there's this guy on a bike that was watching me. And he comes down and is like, "Hey, son, are you a fighter?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I box a little bit." And he goes, "Would you like to box pro?"
Wow. What?
And I said, "Well, if I had a trainer, I'd consider it." And so he was one of the guys that was involved in High Desert Sports Entertainment. And they were bringing boxing matches. They had Henry Hearns. Remember Henry Hearns fought here at the AV Fairgrounds against one of the
Rosses?
Corey. Bobby Corey, the third Corey son. So anyway, they started bringing coaches out. I ended up having a great conversation with this guy, and I end up introducing him to my father. And we start meeting all my dads and my heroes. He knows them, first name basis, and they're coming here to meet me.
Okay.
And so I'm sparring in front of these guys. I went out to Bakersfield with the Quarries, Jerry Quarry, who fought
Jerry
Ali,
Quarry.
Frazier, Foreman, all those guys.
Rest in peace. Yep.
Mike Quarry, his younger brother, who fought Bob Foster.
Right.
I mean, those guys were all world champions. So I went and sparred out there, trained with them. Okay. I went down to San Diego, and I was working with Billy Moore, Archie Moore's son, and they had a great program down there in San Diego.
And how old are you now?
I'm 19.
19. Okay.
And so I get down there with those guys, and those guys were cool, but they just didn't appeal to me for a lot of reasons. Billy was a little different than me as far as the mentality, and plus, I was pretty intimidated of the city still. To be honest with you, being a desert rat from here, I was a little
going into the big little fish in a big pond.
Ooh-wee, man. It was kind of scary for me. It was shell shock. I was shell shocked when I went down there. I ended up sparring with a world champion though, and I held my own down there. And they really liked me, but see, they wanted to turn me pro over there, and they wanted to turn me pro. So I come back here, and Santee brought out a guy named Charlie Cassis, and he brought out a guy named Thel Torrance. Thel Torrance at that time was training Riddick Bowe, Virgil Hill, Marlon Starling. He was the Freddie Roach of that time. He had everybody. And so when they came out, I must have sparred three guys that day, and nobody laid a glove on me. And I thought I had the best sparring session that I had in front of any of these guys. I'd been training hard. I was really sharp. But what I loved about this is I turned around and I heard Charlie ask Thel what he thought. And Thel took a look at Charlie and just kind of said, he said, I like the kid, but he needs to go to school. And when I heard that, I told my dad, I go, that's my coach. That was my coach. Because I had the sense enough to know I didn't know as much as, you know.
You felt good, but you...
I needed to know more. Little did I know, there was so much more I didn't know. That sport can humble you, man.
It's life.
And I'm telling you,
it's a big metaphor.
And just when you think you got it down, and you kind of, I think you understand and know where I'm going to go with it, because the first session I had, you guys have heard me talk about it, and I try to use it when I'm talking to kids if they've had a bad sparring session, and I try to talk to them about it, you know. And what ended up happening to me is I go down to Hoover Street Gym. So I go to 78th and Hoover Street Gym down there.
Only white guy in the gym?
Oh, definitely. Well, I wasn't, okay. So I don't even get in the gym yet, right? I pull in to this fenced place with spikes on it, and I get in there, and there's a guy sitting on the back of his car. This is 10 in the morning, Saturday. And this guy's drinking a 40. Right? He's knocking out a 40. But he's got his shirt sleeves cut off, got a mohawk. And he's just got guns on him, right? I'm just like, hey, how you doing? You know? And he's like, hey, what's up, man? He seemed pretty cool. I go inside the gym, and there's my coach. There's Thel. And he says, hey, Alan. He goes, I got a guy coming to spar with you. He goes, wrap your hands and go shake out. You know? Oh, yes, sir. So I go over there and start warming up, right? So about 15 minutes later, after I'd done, you know, I had a good sweat going, in comes that guy that was out there drinking. And I could smell like he's
like some malt liquor.
Oh, dude,
some Old E.
Yeah, well, I smelled it. I smelled it when the door
King
opened
Cobra.
because he had knocked. Oh yeah, he knocked
stuff we used to drink back in the day. But
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
good.
Yeah, so this guy comes in. He was hammered. Okay, and we get in there. He gets his gear on, man, and we get in there. And I gotta let you guys know, man, that dude handled me with minimal effort, man. Minimal effort. Wow. I could not lay a glove on this dude. So I'm swinging for the fence, man. I'm trying to kill this guy. I couldn't hit him.
First real sparring session there at Hoover Street.
With a pro. No, so just to let you know, I'd sparred with pros. I thought I'd sparred with pros. And here I go. I got a guy that's a drunk, by the way. He'd been probably retired for who knows how long.
Right.
But that meant that he was really good. Okay.
Obviously.
And he just was slapping me with his lead hand. He could have stopped me whenever he wanted to. Just to be honest with you.
Just getting some
He
work
was just
in.
working with me.
So when you were done, how'd you feel?
Oh, demoralized, because I had these little. He opened the. He slapped me with an open glove, so I looked like a Dalmatian. I had little knots all over me, and my coach just goes. He just kind of snickered because it was the lesson he wanted me. He wanted me to learn.
It's part of your school.
It was part of school, and he says, and he saw that I was angered, and he says to me, hey, Alan. He goes, let me ask you a question. When you get angry. Do you ever say to yourself, I should have said this, I should have done that? And I said, well, yes, sir. And he goes, that's because you forgot what to do because you're angry. So he says, if you want to control that environment in there, you have to control this environment out here.
Life.
If you want to control this environment out here, you have to control that environment in there. And he says, so I want you to.
I like that. I like that analogy.
Yeah. And he's a very quiet man. You understand, to get him even to say that much was he didn't lecture you. He would just tell you some useful things.
So then after that, how long did you when you turned pro? Let's talk about that real quick.
Oh, it took about 2 years.
Okay.
But I had
You won the Golden Gloves.
I won the novice Golden Gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went on and won the Las Vegas Golden Gloves after that. So 3 weeks later, I entered those tournaments and I won those. And then I went on and beat a pretty notable guy in Vegas. But you have to understand, I'm sparring with world-class people.
Right.
And so that's really...
And your trainer's world-class.
See, and that's the thing if there's any lesson to be heard in any of this stuff.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's just that what it is you don't do anything without help. Like I required help. And so
I'm learning that
when you get that help, when you get that assistance, it's not, I won, but we won.
100%.
How does that,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it takes a team, man.
It does.
And so, and it took that man's foresight to bring me along and the wisdom.
And then you applying it.
Yes. And so, yeah, there was many lessons along the way, but I won 6 amateur titles.
Nice. 6
in a couple of years.
Okay.
So I won the LA Golden Gloves twice. I won the Las Vegas Golden Gloves, and then I won the Diamond Belt.
Okay.
And then I won the Nationals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so all these accomplishments now, learning from that sparring session, I bet you that stuck with you and made you a better boxer, correct?
Oh yeah. Well, see, that was something I had to whittle down too, though, because I started showing up every day. Because there was that night, I was like, man, thinking, oh my gosh, this is a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be.
But obviously,
and then
you turned it around.
Well, what I did was I showed up the next day.
Right. Okay.
That's what it is.
And I'll get to that.
That's what it is.
I'm painting a picture here, but okay.
Yeah, because what happens is, man, is okay. All right, dude, I'll be the first one there.
Right.
Okay, we're going to do this again. Okay, you whipped me again. Don't think it was any easier the second day. I just accepted it. The third day, we did it again. Wasn't easier.
Right.
I just accepted it.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to go again. We're going to see if you can keep doing that. Okay, now I'm slipping some of those punches. Now I'm countering. You see, day by day. Okay, I ate that one. Now eat this one. You know what I mean? And you but see, you understand that didn't get learned. That didn't get learned there. My dad taught me that in the front yard. I got that somewhere else.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And that's, but applying. So it's applying everything. Applying that dumb hard-headedness there to that, which is not much different than when you hear from Kobe Bryant.
Right.
You see,
Right.
It's the same stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then you decide to finally say, "Let's go pro."
Well, I'll tell you what happened. There's a lot of stuff that ended up happening. I ended up leaving. We had the riots kick off.
Right.
So I wasn't down there for a couple of years. I was up here with you guys.
Okay.
Which was probably not such a great idea, but so
right. Yeah.
So I
we can
ended
go
up.
there, but
So
we
when I made my comeback, I had a layoff, and what I ended up doing, which was pretty. So I only ended up having one pro fight. Okay. What ended up happening with me is I end up making a comeback. I get down in there and I'm doing the same. Everything's happening easy for me because I was pretty talented and I was applying what I was learning. But I'm in the gym working, and I had a promoter ask me if I wanted to fight on a pro card. And I was like, absolutely. But I didn't really talk it over with Thel like I should have. Okay. What ended up happening was when I got involved in this, I didn't realize that I had grown, because you have to understand, I'm 9. You don't stop growing. Right. This is something that I know now is after being a trainer till you're about 23. You see, and so I grew. I gained weight, and I gained muscle, which is worse for boxing because I can't get down to 175 anymore. But I agreed to fight at 175.
Right. I mean, that's not cruiserweight. What is that again?
That's light heavy.
Light
boxing,
heavyweight.
it's light heavy.
Right. What's cruiserweight?
Cruiser's 200.
Like almost
200.
Holyfield was.
Yeah. Holyfield initially was cruiserweight. It's actually one. It's
one below.
It's over the 175 limit to the 200 limit. Is that middle area?
Right. Okay. Right, so you don't take the advice of your coach and.
No, it was a rookie move, man. And I ended up having to dehydrate. I spit off 10 pounds the night before the fight because I couldn't get down.
Yeah.
And so I did, so otherwise I'd get fined.
Right.
And then I ended up giving up a fight that this guy I should have beat easily. But but see, the thing is, he came ready and I did not come ready, and that's my fault. So you have to
moment.
Yeah, you have to realize that that's what happens.
Okay. So what happens after that?
Well, what happens is I ended up getting basically after that point, you know. Well, actually, the riots were around that time. I'm sorry, the riots were around that time, I think, if I remember correctly. And then I ended up coming back home, and I started thinking about what I needed to do, and so I got back to working with the kids for, you know, because I was doing the group home thing, working with those kids the whole time I was boxing. So I come back and I'm back here working with the kids. You and I were at a party in Beverly Hills. Okay.
You want to talk about that one?
Well, no. What I'm going to talk about is I was sitting there that day with Eric Smith, and Alex Ariza, and they were like, "Hey, you know what? It's about time you get out of that line of work. We're going to open up a gym in Santa Maria."
Gotcha.
And this is where I got into the fitness.
You got
business.
into this fitness, which takes me to. So we can kind of speed this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Takes him because you start working with gyms, and then what made you get into where we start tying this together?
Well,
Monster Fitness.
That's your fault too. That's your fault too. I don't know if you remember this.
I do remember this. I remember exactly.
So no, actually, really, it was such a blessing. Okay, so what ended up happening was I was over there working out at 24 Hour Fitness. Okay, you and I were talking. You said, "Hey, have you checked out this gym?"
Right.
You and I go over and we met the. And so that's what I wanted to mention. Also, that was the founder. Of Monster Fitness was Richard and Donna.
Yeah, you're right.
And their son Rich. And
good family. And shout out to you guys.
And so I owe a great deal to them. And we learned a lot from each other. They had a really interesting business model. I'll never forget it. And I thought it was amazing. And it really did drive a lot of traffic there. And it was just a really cool environment, right?
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about that because if you guys live in the Antelope Valley, a lot of trainers all started from Monster.
From Monster Fitness,
and they went into different careers. I went into my career. There's other trainers, so it was almost like the dream team.
Yeah.
For the Valley.
Yes.
Where we all started at Monster.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, shout out to you. And I remember you were the first one to introduce the kettlebell.
Well, what ended up happening?
Into the Antelope Valley. You always were one step ahead, and the TRX.
Well, I'll tell you what happened is I took a lot of the stuff I learned from the LA gyms when I was down there.
Right.
And so being in the fitness business, I ran 7 health clubs.
Yeah.
And so when I purchased that from Richard and Donna,
you had experience.
I had that experience. And so what I started doing, I really visualized that gym I had envisioned in my head for years, for a lifetime. So I started building my dream. And I wanted multiple rooms for multiple classes at one time. I wanted to, and there's a lot of reasons business-wise you do that. You know, everybody comes in and takes those classes. They have a one-on-one experience with these trainers, okay, number one. Number two, guess what they're not using? They're not wearing out your equipment.
Right.
So I had all that really good equipment that we had like $500,000 worth of equipment.
Right, I remember that.
So you got that going, but I got the classes for the people so that they're interactive with someone. You have people that care about your fitness.
And one of the things I think the reason why that gym was so special, and the people that are probably watching this were probably a lot of the members from there, because we still, if I run into people, you know, and you do too, you get to run into people who used to go to the gym, and they used to love that because of the vibe, the culture of everybody encouraging people, and everybody there was no judge, you know, I mean, a little bit, but just everyone for the same, it was like a family.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made Monster, and then and Frontline so special was the camaraderie, and a lot of that had to do with you because you had this vision, and then you put the right people in the right places.
You know, here's the thing too, right?
From learning from everything that you did.
Well, yeah, because you take a person that is let's say a people person, and they have a vision, because I've seen this done at a lot of gyms, where they'll take a kid that wants to be a trainer, and he gets all these certifications, but they got him banging the phones.
Right.
He's working on the phones.
So
he's not doing.
You saw a gift and said, why is this guy over here when his gift is over here?
Yeah.
His gift is with people, and you got him over here banging phones.
Yeah, this guy's got energy. He's got energy. He's got enthusiasm. Yeah.
I know exactly.
Yeah, we got to plug him in the right spot. And so a lot of times.
And that's what a good leader does. Knowing their gift. and you making them and utilizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were good with that. And you
Thank
brought
you.
the right people in there. You know, you had
Thank you.
and to see them branch off into their own business.
And you know what? You got a time limit on that. You know, a lot of people are gonna eventually want that. So yeah, one of the things I'm very proud of is I mean, gosh, you got your own thing going.
I got my ideas there.
Jeremy ended up doing a successful one. Max was already a self-made trainer.
Right.
He actually taught me a ton of stuff. He knows his stuff.
Me too, for sure.
And really he was already there. And he's still going today, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Jose's got his own gym. He's doing his own thing.
That's where we met Latu.
Yeah, and Latu's doing his thing, now. And so, and that's the thing too is well, especially when it comes to training people also, yeah, we would get instructors out of that. But the reality is that most people that get into fitness, once they, it's because they've had it done on them. Meaning they transformed physically.
Right.
They want to end up paying it forward.
Right.
Because they understand what it feels like.
Which I call the ones that really do it for the right reason.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they've made a transformation. And that's where I like to keep everything in-house, because these people made a difference and they want to give back.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
if you give back, you don't really think about teaching. Like me and you, you could teach for free in your head. Same with me, because you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when you got the right reason to get into something, not into boss people around or a status, to do it for the right reasons, because those are the ones that usually stay for the longevity.
Hey man, and
we're doing it for the money.
We can go a lot of different directions, but you've heard that speech that I talk about positional power and personal power.
Right.
And positional power is where somebody has a position, they're over somebody, and they see them that way. Whereas personal power, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you can have the ability to help many people, and it just from where your position is, and it doesn't matter what you do or who you are.
You know what I love about I remember Latu, when people would come into the gym, he wouldn't say, "Hi, I'm Alan Cox, I'm the owner." He would just come in and say, "Hi, I'm Alan." He wouldn't throw the title around, be very, very humble, and it was personal. It was natural. So you didn't care about titles.
Doesn't matter.
And I think that set the tone for the place.
Well, because your title's going to change,
You're doing it for the right reason. But if you feel like I'm here, you're there, that's never going to work.
It doesn't matter.
That's going to be a bad ending if that's the case. If you go into something like that. So I remember you going, "Hey, I'm Alan." You go, "I'm the owner," whatever. You only said I'm the owner if there was some shit that went down.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to,
Right, you know what I mean?
Well, because in those businesses too, and this is a pet peeve of mine, and so if you guys are hearing this, there's some guys I'm talking to right now.
Right.
I didn't like the muscle heads, man. I didn't like guys that threw weights around. I didn't like guys that tried to intimidate people. The cool thing is we had real fighters in there. I had a fight gym in there, and so I had guys that usually the muscle heads kind of stay away from that because they don't want to be pushed. Pulling their BS.
That's one of the reasons why I saw wrong and I tried to make it right with TFL.
Yeah,
is that people needed to work out, and they're intimidated if people are judging you by the way you look.
Yeah, and
that's a big problem, because people need exercise. They need to work on it, not just from a vanity standpoint, from the mental.
So when you're building, and that's something that
and that's where you create your culture. And muscle heads, because in those days, Arnold, Gold's gyms in Venice, so that was the thing. You know what I mean? Muscle heads.
Well,
more's good, but then they started realizing that exercise was more than just a nice body. Yeah. It was therapy. It was anxiety. Now you're finding out that exercise prevents Parkinson's and diabetes and anxiety, all kinds of stuff. They're just finally doing tests.
Right.
But I think we knew that a long time ago.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that takes us to where I'm at over now. Now let's talk about, because I think we're going to tie this in. You got kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Naomi and Dylan.
Yeah.
Everything you've learned in life.
Oof.
These experiences, and then when you see these kids, how's that transition to know when to, you don't want to go through what you went through, but at the same time you can't raise them to be soft, because life is not soft. Life is hard. How do you juggle that? And where do you think you went wrong, or where do you think you went right in that? Because I struggle with that every day with my kids.
That's the common struggle with all of us parents, right?
And if you could help somebody on that, and be very open and transparent, even if you think you might have screwed up in certain things.
Well,
I
first
think
of all,
this is what these podcasts are
I'm
about.
blessed with two great kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm blessed with two great kids. Yeah.
His daughter, my daughter are like best friends. They're
Yeah.
like Cagney and Lacey.
Yeah.
I mean, those two are on a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
They're joined to the hip.
they are. My boy.
Dylan's a good kid too.
My boy's a college. He's really a college basketball player now. He's doing great. My daughter is going to be. She's a straight A student, and she's killing it. But as far as making them, because there's a fine line, you got to make them tough, right? But you can't do what my dad did, because that you go to jail now.
For sure.
So, but I understand.
Sure.
But see, you have to understand. I completely. It was done because he loved me, and so that's what's funny about it is and then him and I, that's the guy I go to for everything to this day. There's no doubt about the way he was. He was a tough man, no BS. But
how do you change that? Because
that's a challenge, right? So what I did with Dylan and what I started doing with Dylan, because he's my oldest, right? So I got him in the boxing gym with me. I get out there and I still play hoop with him. I'm 57 and I still go out there and hoop. And you guys all know it. If you're out there playing with me, I'll go out there and I run these college kids, man. So I go out there with them and I don't, not only am I'm talking the game, but I play it still.
Right.
And yeah, I love that. With Naomi, she's a different ball of wax. This kid's so much smarter than me. Yeah, and actually so is Dylan too. By the way, they all are smarter.
But isn't it different? You can't raise a daughter like you can a son because they're wired different.
They are wired
and
different.
You can push a daughter away through your tone than with a man.
Yeah,
because they're wired different.
You know what? I honestly find myself having more talks with instead of talking to. That's what I've been doing more so than ever before. As I've gotten older, I've tried to do less lecturing because I can lecture all day long, man, with the best of them. And so I try to talk with her. Yeah, and she a lot of times will give me the solutions herself.
Oh, Naomi's.
Yeah.
They're both going to college. And that's a tough transition.
Yeah.
I mean, you already saw Dylan, but it's hard on me.
Yeah.
But it's to see them good kids, and your daughter's a good kid. I mean,
absolutely.
She's, out of all Reagan's friends, I think she's the one that comes and checks on me and asks how I'm doing and stuff like that. And so, and she, it's just, I love Naomi. She's a good person.
Yeah.
So you definitely did good.
Lucky with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So and we live and learn, and we can always do better as parents.
Absolutely.
But sometimes they need the tough love, but sometimes they also need a little grace too.
Absolutely.
So that's the hard part. You don't want to give them too much on both sides.
Yeah.
Too little grace or not enough heart.
Hey, but they never. I mean, look, man. I took some whoopings, man, back in the day.
Yeah.
And I had them coming, every one of them. I've never had to do that with these kids.
Right.
So
Me
it's
either.
it's a whole a whole different thing, man.
Yeah.
So it's a
They're a lot better than I was when I was hanging out with you, man.
Oh, here we go. See, he blames it on me. He blames it on me.
I got so much more trouble too hanging out with this dude.
Oh man. Here
we
we
can
go.
tell stories, but
here we go.
We won't.
Well,
For the sake of this.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that you've been through everything, where you at right now? What does the next 10 years look like to you? What do you want to do in the next?
Real quick, I want to touch on one thing, and I'll tell you why I want to touch on it. And it's because I didn't get into all the professional, because I became a professional boxing coach. Because you understand, my dad wanted me to be such a successful pro in boxing, but I became more of a successful pro as a coach.
And that happens a lot. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like Phil Jackson, people don't remember him as a basketball player.
Yeah.
They remember him as one of the greatest coaches of all time.
That's right. And he was a great pro. He was a great pro.
100%.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, sometimes the coaches, the good athletes that try to become coaches are terrible. Magic Johnson wasn't a good coach.
Yeah, it wasn't
Michael Jordan wasn't a good coach.
No, because
they don't know how to
So
navigate that.
What ended up happening?
I think Kobe Bryant would have been a terrible coach.
I ended up having
good player.
Several Golden Gloves champions.
Right.
I ended up having 3 world champions.
Right.
I had tons of national champions, and got a chance to work with Lance Whitaker. Did several fights with him. I must have worked 40-something pro fights now. And I'm going to close this one short. This is going to be quick, and I'll tell you why. Because my last and my best one was Jose.
Yep.
Jose Hernandez, Speedy, who has his own gym out in Roseman.
He does.
Okay. That kid was so dedicated, so into it, and he got the most. And I really can't wait to and I hope he sees this. I can't wait to tell him this in person, but he got the most out of his career. What's funny, and a lot of people don't realize this, he got the most out of it and now he's a coach.
And he's giving back. He works with those kids. And he's doing what he loves. And he's, once again, he's a good person.
So to me, when I talk to my father now, I always explain to him, because, you know, a lot of times we get into that woulda, coulda, shoulda stuff.
Right.
And I'm like,
I know.
No. God has me right where I'm supposed to be. This is how it was supposed to go. I'm good with this. I'm good. So that losing that pro fight, that pro debut where I couldn't make weight, okay, that taught me so much, and then I got so much out of that career. I wanted to say that because I want to tell you I was okay with stopping even training pro fighters, because Jose was so good. I knew I wasn't going to get any better than that. I was never going to find a guy that dedicated anymore, and I didn't want to look for him. Okay. I'm okay with stopping. I'm so good with that now because I had such a good experience.
When you know you can walk away from something knowing you tried and you gave it your best, it's easy to walk away. It's when you know, man, I should have did this, or like you said, I should have did this. But when you know you've exhausted something, or you saw something, you know you can't match that. That's when it's time to hang them up and go on to something else.
So now check it out. You know, COVID, you know, wiped out the gym, and I ended up moving on from that. But I got a chance. I get to go out and see Jose operate. I get to go out there, shadow box, teach a couple kids every now and then.
Come in here.
Come over here and play with you.
Right.
Are you kidding me, man? I'm having so much fun. And I'm having so much fun.
Yep.
And it's just all been a blessing, man. It's all been a blessing.
It all has.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think that's what it is. If you can help people along the way and do what you love, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, everything you've been through, what's taught you, the good, the bad. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Going back to the next 10 years, because you and me are very passionate. We love our country. Obviously, look what happened last night, and we really don't need to go into it, but let's address it a little bit. Okay. Where do you think that because you love your country, you love helping people, you love what this country stands for, the opportunity to own a business, to teach your kids, to go to school. Where do you think this country needs to be to get back on track? Because we all know.
Well, we need to get back to freedom. And I mean legit freedom. What I mean by that is we need to get rid of overregulation, and we need to get rid of overtaxing. If you look at our Constitution and what it represents, we weren't even meant to have income tax. Understand? That was something that got instituted on us later on down the line. So basically. You know, paying taxes upon taxes exactly.
Right. Okay.
And I'm big on that. And after owning a business, I understand completely that it's a money sucking vacuum the way our government's running now. And they're not doing anything with the money.
And this is what, you know, until you've been in someone's shoes, you don't know.
Yeah.
And I remember when you were at Monster, remember we go to lunch and you'd ask for advice, and I'm like, why don't you do this, or why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Now I look back as an owner. Oh, now I know why you didn't fucking do that. Because now I know why. You got to pinch it here, pinch it there.
Yeah.
But when you're on the outside, you're like, oh, you need this. We need this class. But no, it costs money.
Yeah.
Now we know. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why I'm asking you all these questions. Everything you've been through that's taught you, good and bad.
Yeah.
Where do you think we can be?
Well, I mean, if you get a leader that is really, again, representing the people,
right?
Their interests, okay. And I'm not talking about special interests, because that's what's, you know, that's really what a lot of people are pandering to.
Right.
I'm talking about families that want to be able to feed their kids and want to be able to live in a very free way. But I'm not talking about special interests,
right.
You know, and so. I think we got to get back to that. You know what? Actually, let's just be real about it, okay?
That's what we try to do.
Let's be real about it. Yeah. You need God back in to everything, okay? Because that's been separated on purpose from everything. So let's be real.
And this country was based on God. One nation under God.
100%.
When you think of American values, it's part of God.
Absolutely.
And people don't seem to understand that every rule that we believe in is based on the 10 Commandments.
Yes.
So if you don't agree with murder, that's based on the Bible. Thou shalt not murder. If I can go on all day on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, That's so true, and that's where as we wrap this up, because I was looking at the clock. I told you we could talk all day, bro. We could let you be like this.
Yeah, poor guy's
He's had a long day.
the edge over there.
The two things, or three, what has helped you in your life? Speaking of faith, the two things, or one thing that has helped you become the person that I admire, I respect, and probably most of the people in the Antelope Valley. It could be one, it could be two, it could be three.
Well, I mean,
And then we'll close on this one.
gosh, as far as
What has helped you? What's gotten you? Like,
Well,
for me, it's my faith.
my faith in God,
faith in knowing
you know?
that I'm going to get through it no matter what.
Yeah. Well, you have to,
100%.
yeah, it has to start with faith, and then right after that's family, right? Remember I talked about those 5 F's all the time, right? Faith, family, friends, fitness, and finances. And so I'm a big believer in faith being the foundation of all of it.
Right.
Okay. My family, my dad, I mean, that I get up to go to work. I get up at 3:30 every morning and I work out. Then I go to work, but on the way to work, I make a phone call to Texas where my parents are. And I still talk to them every morning. Okay. That they get me centered, they get me right. Okay.
Faith and family.
Yeah. Okay.
And not and
Then of course my friends.
And friends.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we can't do it alone.
Yeah. Can't do it alone. I don't think I've ever done anything by myself.
I know.
It ain't, that whole thing when we talk about, you know, I did a lot of things, but I needed assistance on every way.
100%.
You pitched in and you helped build that place. I didn't build that. We all built it.
Right.
The members built it.
Right.
Okay.
That's
When somebody brought up one day, hey, it's great working for yourself.
No, it's
No,
not.
I work for 4,000 people.
I work.
I work for 4,000 people. I got 4,000 bosses.
Right.
You know, I used to tell you guys every day, right?
That is true.
I used to tell you guys every day, hey, if I get fired once a day, as long as I get hired 3 times a day, you know, I know this place is doing
The
all right.
Alan-isms.
Yeah.
The Alan-isms.
Hey, man, but that's the thing, right? So because you have fallout when it comes
Right.
to the fitness
Yeah.
business. You have
That's
people
true.
that'll decide to join.
Well, yeah, and
and you
just
got
because,
people
you know-
that get disillusioned and they peel out.
Yeah,
you know?
people think when you're an owner that it's the coolest thing. Oh no, you really got to enjoy what you're doing, or you
yeah.
got to be, and you got to be a little crazy to own your own business.
Yeah,
'Cause you got to
I-
believe in
I-
something when people don't believe in it.
I honestly think the crazy thing fits me for a lot of reasons. Because number one, I got punched in the head a lot. Okay, so let's be real about that.
right.
I don't think anybody ever got punched in the head and
Yeah.
got smarter. You know, and so there's that. Yeah, the business thing. Yeah, it was just a great lesson. It was a
Yeah.
blessing in so many ways.
Yep.
And I think it's because again we duplicated ourselves.
Yep.
And you're doing it now.
Yep.
You're doing it now.
With
you
bringing Latu in.
Yeah,
to,
you
yes,
get
yes.
people that have worked with you, and you're doing it. And
that
so
try
that's
to go along with the culture that you're trying to bring. See,
Yeah.
ours is through positive energy and things like that, and
Absolutely.
no judgment, and just come in and have a good time, and then you bring people into that go along with that. That
Yeah.
believe, like you said, it's helped them.
yeah, and
That's awesome.
Yeah, creating that environment where
Absolutely.
people are free to come in and train and
Yes.
just have a good time, and they can let go of. They don't have to worry about work and all that stuff. They let
Right.
it go.
This should be their
Come in
therapy.
there and exactly.
This is what I tell people, and you come in here and check out for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, when I used to play Little League, man, the minute I got in that diamond, I forgot about everything. I forgot about homework. I forgot about my chores. I forgot about if I was dating a girl. It was almost like
Yeah.
Field of Dreams, like heaven.
Yeah.
And when I come in here, if I'm taking his class, your class,
Yeah.
or when Rosie was teaching,
Yeah.
I literally check out, and I'm
Absolutely.
trying to teach myself not to freaking
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell people this should be your therapy, and it is for most people. You know, you see a lot of people in our videos; they've been with us for years.
Yeah.
Because they look at it as therapy and not as a chore. But then it's not easy.
So there's so much stuff I wanted to actually ask you, man.
I know,
we
but,
got
you know,
we get all going.
You're coming back.
Yeah, all
You're
right,
coming
hey,
back.
Absolutely,
on that. You're coming
absolutely.
back on that, right?
Hey,
Latu?
I got a whole half of stuff that we gotta
can do
talk
it.
about. We gotta talk about what
Yeah. Yeah.
what you're doing
No,
with this
you know-
stuff, because there's so much you're doing with
And-
this.
and I'll share that.
And then your goal, like for this, what's your goal with doing? Because I already know you were doing life coaching. There's so many things you're doing to help people. What kind of vehicle is this going to be?
I want to share my passion, what's helped me, and I want to bring people to share their passion, what's helped them.
Got you.
And the two things that have helped me is faith and fitness.
Yeah.
And that's me and my core. When I die, I want people to remember that I worked out and believed in God, because it all ties together. Your mind, your body, and your soul. And a lot of people look at fitness just as a physical thing. and they don't realize that it's all connected.
Yeah.
So, and I want to market that in that way, and then bring in the mind, the body, the soul. Hearing stories like you, I'm so glad you talked, because I didn't even know. I want to know, when people come up here, what makes you tick, what makes you successful, because there's a backstory, the good and the bad. And I want to bring all this, and if we can help somebody and give them some good wisdom nuggets, I did my part.
Gotcha.
So that's where I think it's, and I know sometimes it's one episode might be a little bit more faith, one might be a little bit more exercise, but they know that with Training for Life, that it's all connected. It's the mind, the body, and the soul. And anytime I've been at my happiest is when I'm working on all three.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing, to find the balance.
No, balance, man, is what
that's
we're all
the hard
trying
thing,
to
right?
achieve.
Latu's got family, he just got married.
Yeah.
But I got to get my workouts in. And then if we don't, something suffers, our mental health.
Right.
Like,
well, okay. Faith, family, friends, fitness, and finance.
It's all connected.
They're all spokes of a wheel. And if one of those spokes is out of place, and
I
so
literally feel better.
That stuff you heard me preach that when I was selling a gym membership, and I'm talking to these people, but I really honestly know it and believe it.
100%.
And then now, here we go, because I've done that. I've poured into my kids and gained weight.
Of course.
Stuff like that, and you got to realize now.
You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, because I ain't going to be around for these guys.
No.
And so, and that's another thing is people, they take the fitness stuff for granted, and
They do.
and there's so much poison in our foods.
The agility, just moving.
Yeah.
And that's where now that we're doing this, I want to bring you back, and then we can talk about those things.
Absolutely.
But I really want it to be about you. I wanted to know your story, what makes you tick. And a lot of people just see Alan as just, this way, but there's always a backstory. The fact is that he got beat up by, and this is the reason why he's hard, but he's also he's got a good heart, and he's learned from that. And now you're different in a better way, but this is how we are. Same thing with me, why I am who I am.
It's all growth.
We all got a backstory.
It's all growth, man. It's you. Do you let these things hinder you, or do you grow because of it?
Right. And that's to, once again, either you become bigger or bitter or better.
Right.
And you chose to become better.
Absolutely.
Because you've had a lot of setback.
Yeah.
I've known you all my life. We'd have talks for hours in the car.
Yeah.
And this dude was like freaking just a rock. Just whatever problem he had, he just kept on moving. And I think a lot of that has to do with what's your boxing taught you not to quit.
It had to do with that grass in that backyard getting freaking. My pops being there, and I couldn't quit.
Man, like I said, man,
couldn't quit in front of him, man.
No,
so
we got to do this again because
Okay.
God, but I said, we got to keep these things at least an hour, but no more than an hour.
Absolutely.
But now this is another teaser for the next episode. But I just want to tell you, man, I really appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate your friendship, bro. And you've helped me so much. And as I get older, I want to always pay my respects and give credit where credit is due as I get older. Because sometimes when we die, you get your flowers after you're dead.
Yeah.
I want to give them to all my members while you're alive. If you ain't getting younger, brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? You never know, dog.
That part. Shoot.
But man, Latu, thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate you, brother. I know you got to get up early.
All right.
Our next episode, we're going to shoot one next week. We'll get all the info out to you, but man, I'm telling you, man, I love it. How you feel about it?
Oh, I feel good.
Feel good about it?
I feel good. Yeah,
I can tell you want some more to talk about.
Oh no, man, it's all good. I mean,
good.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, man. Okay, guys, so our next episode, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, message us we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram. Message us. And if you have any questions, man, we'd love to hear your comments. Have a great day, guys. Take care.